morning and
Good
welcome to the Fiber
morning.
Series. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Jet.
Hi. Hello, Dale Stevens. He doesn't speak very well, so I speak for him.
Here are our dear friends all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. But you didn't.
Wow. Wow.
So good. But you guys didn't start there.
New Yorker, you put a couple of drinks in me, I start talking like this. Are you looking at me? You got a problem with that?
I read your amazing book called Grow Yourself and Grow Your Business. And it struck me so much that I looked for you on LinkedIn, found you, and then I reached out to you because I love the book so much.
I was like, oh my God. And I read your note to my mother, and she was like so moved, and she looked at me and she goes, I'm so proud of you, my boy. And so all the way from Australia, that happened in Phoenix, Arizona because of you.
When you say, I am driven to help make everyone's dream come true. I think that's you. I think that's who you are and what you do.
It is. I have a saying in my life and in my businesses, and the mantra of my daily living in my life is very simply this. It's good business to make a difference in the lives of those we do business with and seek business from. And that was something that was always a part of how I lived my life. And I learned that from my parents. I got lucky once and built a very large company and made the front page of USA Today. I was a former chief science officer, university adjunct professor. But the thread through everything that I did was to honor my parents and grandparents. I decided I was going to do one thing every day to honor them. And then every day for 28 years, I have a coffee. I have to say it like a New Yorker. I have a coffee or a lunch a day with somebody whom I've not met and would like to. I find out what their challenges are, and I make 5 introductions a day for them. I open a door for them every day. I do 5 a day, every day, 28 years. And the one thing I learned very, very quickly, and I learned it from my businesses, was that you, and I mean, when I mean you, Dale, I mean your audience, everybody, your career, your business will only ever be about as good as you are. Billionaires were my clients, and I was around them, and I learned that they were a little different and that they were working on themselves almost as much as they were working on it. And that really got me, it made me realize that I needed a lot of work.
That's where happiness lies, because if you're stretching yourself and growing yourself, that is exciting.
Full-blown servant leadership outperform every other company and methodology in the world. I mean, both financially, culture-wise, employee satisfaction and retention. To do that together in a safe environment.
Yes.
And most companies don't offer that for people.
There's been like a silver lining or something beautiful that's happened with the lockdown for you.
Jet loves coronavirus because daddy's home all the time. We go on walks. We get to pee 5, 6, 7 times a day. What could be better in a dog's life, right? So I have time for him and he has time for me. There's lots of love flowing.
If you could tell us about someone who has just really inspired you in your life.
No matter how many there have been, I have to start. I mean, my heroes were my parents and my grandparents. I live in so much gratitude every day because of them. I mean, my home was Grand Central Station for anybody who needed a meal, a place to stay. There was always joy and laughter. It was the place of safety and love and laughter for the world. And my father was a dentist. And my father was a very soft-spoken, sweet, non-authoritarian, very well-read, just sweet guy. And I have a very unusual last name, Kolikoff. Nobody really has that name. So as I was growing up, if I had to give my debit card or credit card or my license or write my name down, people would say, any relation to the dentist? And I would always say, well, yeah, that's my dad. And the response was always like gushing. Oh my God, your dad is like my dad to me. He's the sweetest, most loving man. You know, meanwhile, he's their dentist. You know, and it happened hundreds of times, Dale, through the course of my life. So then when I moved out here, there was a bit of a sadness in me that it wouldn't happen. My father passed away, and I flew out to New York, and I gave the eulogy, and it was very emotional. I knew how he wished to be remembered. And he never really said it, but he did in his actions. Fly back to Arizona. And the very next day, I had to fly to Orlando, Florida. I get to the airport, and I get in a shuttle bus to rent a car. And there's a guy on the bus, and I'm in Orlando, and he's on the phone, and he's talking like this. I'm gonna break his freaking neck. I mean, I'm like, oh, he's obviously from New York. I love this guy, right? Most people would be like, oh my God. And I'm like, I wanna hug him, right? Because I'm a New Yorker, right? Total opposite reaction. So he hangs up, and we go to get our luggage, and we're walking out of the bus, and I say, so you're from New York? And he said, yeah. He goes, how about you? I said, yeah, me too. He said, where are you from? Port Jefferson. He said, wait a minute, I'm from Port Jefferson. He goes, what's your name? I said, Andrew Kolikoff. And he looks at me and he said, any relation to the dentist? Now, I have goosebumps as I'm saying this. I'm immediately getting emotional because I'm grieving, and I never thought it was going to happen. And he starts seeing me start trembling and crying, and he goes, what's the matter? And I said, my father just passed away. He walks up to me and he said, I need you to know who your father was. He said, you see, I grew up in a home where my mother was a single mom. I had 8 brothers and sisters, and we were on welfare. We didn't have we didn't know where our next meal was going to come from. And your father took care of all of us for nothing. And you have no idea how much it meant to my mother what your father did for my family. And he's crying and I'm crying. He kissed me. The people behind the counter are crying when we're waiting for our car. And this was a total stranger. So when I get the keys and for my car, and I mean, literally was like just all out crying for 20 minutes before I could even like pull the car off the lot. So when you ask me where I get my inspiration from, that's just a story about my dad. I didn't tell you about my mom or my grandfather. I promised you I'd do this. So little hint to everybody in her audience. We talked, I gotta say it like New York. We talked before this, and I sang to her in our previous talk. So I said, Dale, you're now my friend, so I have to sing you a song. So I'm gonna say now, if you listen to this whole thing, I'm gonna say you're all my friends,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
So here we go. I'm gonna do an extremely shortened version. What would you do if I sang at it too? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. No, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yes, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends. Keep watching her show. She's an amazing, kind, loving, well-intentioned, beautiful person who gives a shit about people and life. And who better to know than somebody like her?
Oh, God bless you. I am so blessed and pleased and honored and overwhelmed to know you, Andrew. And Andrew Kolikoff, have a great day. Thank you. Bye.